South Carolina shows everybody who's boss. Kiki-era offense saves the day for Stanford. And Ohio State gets got on their home court. So does K-State and Virginia Tech. Here is your Day 3 recap for the NCAA tournament. And we start with the Battle of the Carolinas, where South Carolina jumped out to a huge start and never let up, beating North Carolina 88-41. South Carolina was back at full strength as Bree Hall and Camila Cardoso returned back to the court. Camila Cardoso was really emotional after hearing the fans' love for her after her one-game suspension. They really let her know what she means to them. Camila finished the game with a double-double, 12 points and 10 rebounds. But to me, the story of the game was two things: defense and the freshman for South Carolina. For the defensive side, South Carolina put North Carolina in a buzzsaw. They put the guards to a buzzsaw. North Carolina runs at the speed of Deja Kelly, but Deja Kelly couldn't get nothing because she had the likes of Raven Johnson and Mylasia Fulwiley absolutely getting after her on defense. Both players finished with 3 steals apiece. And speaking of Mylasia Fulwiley, her and Tessa Johnson once again came off the bench and showed everybody that they can get it. They can score some points and they can make a huge impact off the bench. They got going offensively, getting the team going from the 3-point line, combined for a 7 out of 12 shooting from the 3. But it wasn't just Malaysia who had the razzle-dazzle at the 3-point line. She also added some razzle-dazzle in her 2-point shots as well. Both players finished with 20 points and 11 points respectively.
I know a few years ago, we had Aaliyah and Zion here regular to talk to them when they were freshmen. But how unusual is it that, it's freshmen who are kind of pushing things and leading the way these past few games?
I think it's the theme of women's basketball at this point, where you got a lot of young players who are coming in and making an impact. I mean, they grew up watching the NCAA tournament. They grew up watching the WNBA. So to get their opportunity to play on a big stage, they've prepared themselves for it. And, I mean, it's the right situation. I mean, all the freshmen that are, that are in the national spotlight, they pick good situations in which they can shine. And although this is a different kind of shine for Malaysia and Tessa, even Chloe. They see themselves as being integral parts of our success, and they didn't back down from it. Like, they could have easily. They didn't look like this in June. They've built up to it, and they don't have to be receptive to it as well. But I think just the whole entire group allows them to just play their game and be held accountable for not playing their game. So I think it's a cool dynamic to our team.
Now let's move on to talk about Texas, who defeated Alabama 65-54. Now, this was a game that was basically a battle throughout. Yes, Texas basically had the lead all game, but Alabama was not letting them run away with it. For Alabama senior Sarah Ashley Barker, she played her heart out. She tried to get her team going, but her 17 points was just not enough. And that's because Texas's defense and because of 2 players, Madison Booker and Aaliyah Moore, who both finished the game with 21 points. We talk a lot about how great freshman Madison Booker has been all season, leading her team. But that's rightly so. Rightly so. She does deserve that praise. But a lot of times we, and also me, forget to mention junior Aaliyah Moore because she has been really good all season. And yesterday, she let everybody know that she can also ball in this game. Again, she finished with 21 points and also had a double-double, just stepping up defensively to get her team the dub. All right, moving on to the upset as the young Duke squad took down the vets in the Ohio State Buckeyes 75-63. Now, for Ohio State, it was sophomore Cody McMahon who showed up getting 27 points. But J.C. Sheldon and Celeste Taylor never really got going in this game, and that's what led to Ohio State's demise. Foul trouble also really, really, really hurt the Buckeyes. Now, it started early on where it seemed like Ohio State had it. They went off to a huge start, at one point leading by like 16 points. But then Duke adjusted. They got better on defense, and they started hitting their shots. And it became a ball game. Now, for the young Duke squad, they were led by junior Reagan Richardson, who lit it up from the three-point line, finishing the game with 28 points. And guys, to me, the matchup really was all about coaching and making the right adjustments. Duke did that to get back in the game. And it seemed that Ohio State never really adjusted back to Duke's onslaught. And that resulted in them getting upset on their home court. Not only does Duke move on, but they do so by beating their former player, Celeste Taylor, who transferred from Duke to Ohio State this year.
To their competitive spirit, and it also speaks to their willingness to be coached, to be coachable, because we operate in reality in our program. So when we fall short of something, I just tell them. I tell them it. I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not mean about it, but I say, hey, we're not good enough in this part of the game yet. And they're nodding their head because that's what the conversations are. And early in the year, we would talk about, like, we weren't good enough or we weren't ready enough or whatever it was to be able to win these types of games. And we had so many games that we lost like this. And we would be honest with ourselves about it. Because I think when you experience failure, you have two options. You can either tell yourself the truth or you can lie to yourself. And what happens when people fail, they'll lie to themselves and they won't address the issue that's actually causing the failure. We don't want to do that in our program. We want to address the issue that's causing it. We want to tell the truth to ourselves and say, hey, we fell short here. Here's where we need to be better. And then my job as a coach is to show them and teach them how to get better. Not just say we're not good enough. My job is to help them see and help them grow in those areas. And so this is why you coach, man. I mean, to see that growth and now on a bright stage to be able to see them overcome something that we struggled with during the year, it's really, really satisfying.
Next up, the Colorado Buffaloes, who took down K-State 63-50. Now, for this game, to me, it was all about two people. It was about Aaronette Vonleh and it was about Quay Miller, who got the dub for the Buffs. And it really, really started from the jump with Aaronette Vonleh being tasked with guarding Ayoka Lee. And she did just that, denying Ayoka the ball and getting steal after steal in this game. Sure, Aaronette only had 9 points in this game. But if you actually watched it, it was her defense that was absolutely spectacular, getting a whopping 7 steals, grabbing 8 boards, and even getting a block in there as well. And probably the best stat of them all is that she was able to hold Ayoka Lee to only 10 points in this game. And Ayoka Lee normally averages around 19 points a game and usually is the main key player for K-State. So to hold out and to defensively stop Ayoka Lee was just huge for the Buffs. And also shout out to Quay Miller, who I thought was just overall very good in this game. She made some really good decisions in terms of knowing when to shoot the ball, knowing when to pass the ball. She also had a double-double in this game with 10 points and 10 rebounds. She also got 3 steals as well. The Buffs live on to play another day. Now, moving on to LSU, who defeated Middle Tennessee 83-56 in a game that was way, way, way closer than the final score shows. Y'all may not know Middle Tennessee, but they are extremely well coached. And they're a team that was giving LSU that work and leading at the half. They did that by using their star point guard, Savannah Wheeler, who played her heart out for the Blue Raiders, finishing with 21 points. Largely had a huge impact in that first half, but it wasn't enough because Middle Tennessee got in foul trouble, and it forced them to play more of their bench, which was ultimately something that led to their demise. Because they're not a team that plays their bench like that. They're a team that runs on a tight 6-man rotation, and yesterday they had to play 9 people. And that was because 3 starters, including 6'6" Anastasia Boldareva, fouled out in the third quarter. Yes, LSU got themselves together in the second half to get the dub, but I do believe that getting Middle Tennessee in foul trouble was a very, very smart move that really helped LSU out in the second half. And for LSU, it was all about Big 4 Flau'jae Johnson, who absolutely did her thing in this game. On the scoring side with 21 points, but also on the defensive side as well. And just being the exact spark that the team needed to make a run in the second half.
Coach Starkey was on on the radio after the game, sitting by me, and he said, "You've really grown in your knowledge of the game in your time here. What did you think you knew when you came here, and what do you think you know now, and that has helped your game and helped you be a better teammate and contributor to this team?"
Coming into college, I knew nothing. I thought I knew something, and then I hit them going up and down with them college girls, and I said, "Oh no, I got to slow it down." So, in my freshman year, like me and Coach Starkey, I never missed a day of film with him. Like he just teach me so much, and then some point throughout this year, it kind of just clicked. Like, like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, just listening to scouting report. I feel like, when you kind of know what the player going to do, you can kind of make them do whatever. I kind of think, like, defensively from an offensive standpoint, like, what would I do? You know what I'm saying? And then I use that with scouting report, listen to what he says, because Coach Starkey he's brilliant with scouting report. So I just try to learn anything I can, like suck all the juice from him, because he knows a lot.
Now, it just wasn't Flau'jae Johnson. It was the mid-range assassin, Michaela Williams, who did her thing, adding 16 points. Anissa Morrow had a double-double with 13 rebounds and 19 points. And Angel Reese struggled shooting, but she still got the job done with 20 points and 11 rebounds. To the Sweet 16, LSU goes.
And another question, how did you feel about Haley's defensive effort despite only shooting 1 for 5?
I was very proud of Haley today. She doesn't start the second half for no other reason other than a coach's decision. And that child worked her rear end off in the second half defensively. And as Flau'jae said, she set the tone for us to pick our energy up on the defensive end. She's just trying to do something in her career before college ends for her, and that's, to try to win a championship. And I just told her how unselfish she was today to let me start Poa. She didn't ask why. She didn't pout. She went out there and did her job.
The Baylor Bears defeated Virginia Tech on their home court, 75-72. And for Baylor, they ran on the speed of Jada Walker, who absolutely went off in that second half, getting the dub for her team. She finished with 28 points in this game, and she did her thing. Now the team was really, really neck and neck. The game was neck and neck all throughout. And it really, really came down to the last few seconds. Virginia Tech was down by 1 with 20 seconds left to go in the game, and they needed a defensive stop. But Jada Walker is Jada Walker. She got to the basket and got an and one layup. Now Virginia Tech is down by 4 with 15 seconds to go. And who do they go to? Well, of course, they're going to Georgia Amore, their star. She has an off-balance three-point shot that goes in the basket. The crowd goes wild, and the Hokies have some life in them, only being down 1 with 15 seconds left to go. So they need to get a foul and get it quickly. They do that. They had a foul to give, so they give that. Then they have to foul again. Baylor inbounds the ball, and who gets it? Of course, Jada Walker. Jada Walker is just faster than everybody else on the court. She runs around, and finally, Virginia Tech catches her with 6 seconds left to go for the foul. She makes her free throws, and basically from there, the game is over. Virginia Tech loses. Baylor wins. Now for Virginia Tech, this is the end of an era as Georgia Amore and Elizabeth Kitley hang it up for their squad, and maybe Kenny Brooks as well. Here is what was said.
If this is your last game, how will you remember your Virginia Tech career?
Had a time. I came here and I was not good. Couldn't shoot. Probably a little too overweight. Probably too slow. Had too much fun. Had to get reeled in. But I got here and it was the perfect place for me to settle in and, kind of not control myself, but lock in on basketball is the perfect place to do that. I came here and I trusted Coach Brooks 110%, even when I didn't trust him myself. And, it's paid off immensely. I couldn't be more grateful for our time together. And I think, being a foreigner, I come over to America and America's fun, but Blacksburg is the place where I've developed. And it's kind of like my home away from home, and I couldn't be more appreciative of how it's transformed me as not only a basketball player but as a person, and that's because I've surrounded myself with great people. And I truly think that I came out of high school, I had 4 offers or whatever, I took 2 visits, and one of them just happened to be here, and that's a blessing in disguise. And I didn't know at that time how it would play out, but I took the chance, and I'm very, very grateful that I did, because, you know, I've got him for life now, so I've loved it, and I couldn't be more grateful.
Obviously, this is the end of the Liz and Kayla era. I don't know if it's going to be the end of Georgia or not, or heck for you or not. So how will you remember this chapter of Tech basketball?
The most amazing stretch of my coaching career, and not only just because of the championships we won, but those three, they're incredible people. I couldn't have asked for better people to come in here and transform this program. You can be a great player, but if you don't have the mentality, the work ethic, and the ability to lead people, and when I say lead, I mean they lead our program, but they also help lead this community. The effect that they've had on this community, not only young people, old people, that they've made a lot of people women's basketball fans here at Virginia Tech, and sometimes when you get players of that caliber, sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit. You have to sacrifice maybe integrity. But those kids are the full package. They're great kids. And what they've done for this program, this community, for me, you can't even put it into words, and that's how special they are.
Oregon State defeated home court and defeated Nebraska 61-51. And for the Beavers, it was all about Talia Olhoffen, who led the squad with 17 points, 7 rebounds, and a whopping 4 blocks. Now, for the Cornhuskers, I will say that overall, I thought their defense was pretty solid. They just couldn't hit those threes, and Oregon State could. And that's why Oregon State moves on. All right, now let's talk about the game of the day, or should I say the game of the night, as we saw a thriller at Stanford as the Cardinals took down Iowa State 87-81. Now, this was a battle all day with 18 lead changes. I believe it was 11 ties throughout this game. And the thing about this game really was that it wasn't the normal suspects. It wasn't the normal suspects of Cameron Brink for Stanford and Audie Crooks for Iowa State. No, it was Kiki Ira-Afen and Emily Ryan who stole the show in this game for both teams. But ultimately, it was Kiki Ira-Afen and her 41 points and 16 rebounds that made the difference for her squad. It was just amazing to see Kiki Ira-Afen get the ball face up, mid-range jumper. It was awesome to see her work her magic. And every time she caught the ball, you knew what she was going to do. Turn around, face up. And they still couldn't stop it. They could not stop her shot. Because you knew if you really, really tried to get up on her for that mid-range shot, you know she could blow by you and get to the basket. Like Kiki Ira-Afen has just grown so much this season. In my opinion, she is the most improved player of the year. She has just been so good for Stanford, and she leads the team today. And it's just was just amazing. Was just amazing for Stanford. Now for Iowa State, Emily Ryan for the Cyclones played her heart out. She had 36 points in this game, but it just wasn't enough. The game went to overtime with Cameron Brink on the bench after getting fouled out in the fourth quarter. And Audie Crooks ended up getting fouled out in overtime as well. But that didn't stop both teams and having players from both teams step up and hit big buckets. Addie Brown got a bucket with a huge three with 3 minutes left to go in OT, putting Iowa State up by 1. Then Talina Lopolo answered with a 3 of her own. Then Jalen Bristol scores. Then Kiki Ira-Afen scores. Then Jalen scores again. Then Kiki scores again. And it truly was an instance of anything you can do, I can do better. Emily Ryan gets to the free throw line for 2. Kiki does the same. And then we have 3 3-pointers by Addie Brown and Brooke Dimitri. And Stanford has a 3-point lead with 18 seconds left to go. The Cyclones miss a layup, and it's basically over from there. Stanford survives the Cyclones, but just a little advice, guys. Watch out for the Cyclones in the future because they are just getting started. All right, guys, that is the video for today. That is your recap of day 3 of women's college basketball, the tournament. It's been a fun time, guys. Let me know what games y'all watch. Let me know your thoughts about the games that y'all watch in the comments below. Please hit that like button and please hit that subscribe button. Share this video with someone who maybe missed a game or two. Until next time, guys. Bye.